off into two different segments, then it's either the vestibular duct or the cochlear nerve. Make sense? Okay. And I'm going fast because we still cochlea has to be explained more in detail. Okay, cochlea consists of three structures. So what happens? Cochlea is a snail-like structure, correct? When you unwind the snail, it looks like this. Here is the oval window. Here is the round window. And you have opened up the snail. You have unrolled the snail. So the top is called the scala vestibuli. Or it's also called vestibular canal. Okay, so the vestibular canal or scala vestibuli is the same thing. It's a top canal. What does a canal contain? It contains fluid. So here is the vestibular canal. Then you have, I'll come back to the middle. Then you have the bottom one, which is called scala tympani, or tympanic canal. Tympanic canal. Okay? And again, it's fluid filled. Tympanic canal. Then you have the middle, which is called the cochlear duct. It has a cochlear duct. So here is a cochlear duct. And a cochlear duct contains a main structure called organ of Corti. Okay? Cochlear duct contains the main structure called organ of Corti. So here's, you just unwound the cochlea, then you have three different: vestibular canal, cochlear duct, tympanic canal. Okay? Vestibular canal, cochlear duct, tympanic canal. Now, when you actually look at a cochlear duct, it actually has other structures inside. Okay? So, cochlear duct actually has different structures. A is tectorial membrane. A is tectorial membrane. It looks like a sharp spin. Okay? Now, have you ever ate Jell-O? Do you know how Jell-O is a gelatinous, rubbery, hard? Not completely hard, but pretty solid. So tectorial membrane, imagine its consistency, it's like Jell-O. Okay? Farm Jell-O or not loose, okay? It's farm Jell-O. Okay. Now, these are sensory neurons with these hair cells. So this is the hair cells right here. And these are the cell bodies, and these are the neurons. I mean, the axons running through. Does that make sense? So B is sensory neuron with hair cells, which are the dendrites, correct? And what did I say? Hair cells are always receptors. What receptors are they? Mechano. Not chemomechano, because now we're doing with pressure. So, these are sensory neurons. The dendrites are the hair cells. The hair cells are receptors. These are mechanoreceptors because they tend to detect changes in pressure. And basically the cell bodies give off axons. Okay? C, which is this right here, is basilar membrane. basilar membrane. Okay? As you can see, all the neurons are, and these neuroglial cells are resting on the basilar membrane. Okay? What's D? D is cochlear nerve. Okay, as you can see, all the sensory neurons are coming together forming the nerve. This is the cochlear nerve. This is coming from the cochlea. E is glial cells. Okay? Does that make sense? I know I'm going a little fast, but you have the video. So, tectorial membrane, and then you have the sensory neurons with the hair cells. The axons are coming together forming the cochlear nerve. Here is the basilar membrane on which the sensory neurons and the glial cells rest upon. Okay? Now, organ of Corti. Remember I said the cochlear duct contains organ of Corti? What two structures make up the organ of Corti? If you look right here, here is the tectorial membrane. Here is the sensory neuron. My fingers would be the hair cells. My palm is a cell body, and then the axons. Okay? Here's the tectorial membrane. The sensory neurons, the hair cells, a portion of it is embedded within the tectorial membrane. As you can see, it's going inside the tectorial membrane. So the tectorial membrane plus the hair cells together is called organ of Corti. Okay? Organ of Corti is hair cells plus tectorial membrane. So the hair cells plus the tectorial membrane collectively is called organ of Corti. Okay? Okay. Quickly about semicircular canals. It's part of the vestibular apparatus, as I already told you. It has 3 canals, all of them are fluid filled. Okay? All 3 of the canals are fluid filled. Now, at the base of each, now there are 3 canals, each oriented in a different plane. Okay? Each oriented in different plane. Okay? Each of them are oriented in a different plane. Therefore, because they're fluid filled, so any direction you rotate your head, the fluid moves, and you're able to detect. At the base of each canal, you could see this protrusion. This is called the ampulla. Okay? At the base of each canal. Okay? Now right here you have the ampulla. Within the ampulla you have this structure right here, which is called the capula. Okay? So here's the ampulla and this is a capula. Does that make sense? So capilla are the sensory neurons, RY. Sensory neurons, which contains the hair cells. Okay? Does that make sense? So, semicircular canal, 3 canals, each oriented in a different plane. Each of them are fluid filled. At the base of each semicircular canal, you have this protrusion, which is called the ampulla. Within the ampulla, you contain a different structure called the capula. What is capula? This is where you have basically the hair cells and the sensory neurons. Okay? Function of semicircular canal is to detect rotational acceleration. So if I tilt my head this way, if I tilt it this way, or if I go around, I still have to maintain balance, correct? So every time you turn or you bend like this, it's basically the fluid moves and therefore you're able to maintain balance. So rotational or circular balance, okay? Rotational or circular balance is due to semicircular canals. Now, vestibule. Vestibule is part of the vestibular apparatus. It's made up of 2 small structures called the utricle and the saccule. So the utricle and the saccule make up the vestibule. Each utricle and the saccule contain gelatinous material, which is right here. On top of the gelatinous material, you contain this structure called otoliths. These are ear crystals. as you can see right here, they're crystal-like structures, right? So in our inner ear, we have crystals. Then you have sensory neurons right there, and then you have the hair cells. The hair cells, anytime within the ear, if you hear hair cells, they're all mechanoreceptors. Okay? Mechanoreceptors. So, mouth and the nose, chemoreceptors. Ear, mechanoreceptors. Okay? Skin, internal organs, thermoreceptors. Eye, photoreceptors. Okay? Function of basically vestibule is to pick up linear acceleration. You're on a roller coaster. You're fleeing forward. You're fleeing backward. That's linear acceleration. Okay? You still have to maintain your balance. So vestibule is for linear acceleration. Okay? You don't need to know process. Does that make sense? Okay. Make sure you're able to know the slide. Make sure you're able to identify all of these structures. Okay? And on the next one, all of these structures have functions. Make sure you know this function. Okay. Now, I think this is the last slide. Now, the retina actually has 4 different layers. Okay? Retina has 4 different layers. Okay. So one is basically they have a ganglion cell layer. That's the first layer. That's the light. So when light goes through, it has to go through 4 distinct layers. First one is ganglion cell layers. Second layer is bipolar cell layers. Third layer is the rod and the cone layer. Rods and the cones, which are right here. And the fourth layer is a pigmented cell layer. So the retina is made up of 4 different layers. Okay? The first that light crosses through is the ganglion cell layer, then bipolar cell layer, then the rods and the cones, and the last, the pigmented cell layer. Okay? Now, 2 things about rod and a cone. This is a cone, this is a rod. Cone detects color, vision, and central. Okay, so the cone see for color and central. Cone is responsible for central vision and color vision. Rod is responsible for night vision and peripheral vision. Okay? So at night vision, it's not your cones that pick up information or help you see, it's your rods. Okay? This is why at nighttime you tend to see more black and white. It's not color.
Pick up night vision and what else?
Peripheral. So not center, peripheral, more peripheral. Okay, so we're done with now, one thing I would say, because I know I rushed this part, I will try to have less case scenarios in the next exam. Doesn't mean I won't have any case scenarios. I'll try to keep it less case scenarios, more direct questions.